Good Monday morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Get up, get up, get up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Take a nice long stretch, a big stretch, a hard stretch, whatever kind of stretch you need. Set up yourself right on this splucious, magnificent Monday morning. Trust you had a restful, peaceful weekend. It was a tense weekend for us here in Grenada. It has been a tense few days, actually, but it only intensified further over the weekend. But nevertheless, we're up in the land of the living. Give praises to God that we have woken up. We're on the wake-up list this morning. Let's give him all thanks and praises. Whatever the situation is, we are in the land of the living. We get a chance to do it better today. We get a chance to continue on our life's journey on this wonderful August 23rd, 2021. So bless up your whole pretty and handsome selves. Those of you joining us on whichever platform, whether it be the GBN, Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11 and 20. Good morning to all the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9, and the folks joining us on Party Grenada and Go to Fet Facebook pages. Whichever platform you're using, it's a pleasure. Viewers and listeners across the Caribbean, whichever part of the region you are, a spicy Grenadian 473 morning to each and every one of you. And those of you joining us internationally, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Hope you will have a good day, are having a good day, have had a good day. All right, let's get into it. It's time for this morning's word of the day. Lots of information to share, so we don't stick in this morning. This morning's word of the day is emigrate. It's a verb which means to leave a country or region in order to live somewhere else. Emigrate. Migrate, emigrate, and immigrate are all about being on the move. All those terms come from the Latin word migrare, which means to move from one place to another. Emigrate and immigrate sound alike, and it is true that both involve leaving one location and entering another. The subtle difference between them lies in point of view. Emigrate stresses leaving the original place, while immigrate, spelt with IM, focuses on entering the new one. You won't have trouble keeping them straight if you remember that the prefix E means away, as in eject, and the prefix im or in means into, as in inject. Word of the day this morning, emigrate. E-M-I-G-R-A-T-E, a verb which means to leave a country or region in order to live somewhere else. An example of the use of the word: the author's family emigrated from Hungary. Another example of the use of the word: originally from Jamaica, Martin emigrated to the UK in 2002. The word of the day this morning, emigrate. E-M-I-G-R-A-T-E, a verb which means to leave a country or region in order to live somewhere else. Word of the day this morning, first thing that comes to mind is the situation over there in Afghanistan. Massive evacuation is taking place over there following what has been taking place since last week Sunday or so. So that's the first thing that came to mind. I guess that's why it's the word of the day this morning. Okay, it fits. All right, let's see what's the thought of today as we go about this magnificent, marvelous, magical Monday. This magical Monday, the thought for today. I'm not sure who needs to hear this today, but you are important and you matter in this world. Have a lovely and blessed day. You never know what somebody is dealing with. Somebody is probably thinking if they belong here, if they are adding more stress to somebody else's life. A lot of people are going through it. We don't know them, but they're going through it. So I'm going to say it for the people there's somebody who may need to hear it. I don't know who it is, but somebody needs to hear it. You are important and you matter in this world. No matter the situation, it's going to get better. Just trust in God. Pray to Him. Talk to somebody. Talk to a family member, a friend, a co-worker, your boss, your priest, your preacher, your pastor. Somebody. Let them know how you're feeling. Share with them. Talk to somebody. It's not always easy starting a conversation like that, but sometimes you need to just bite the bullet. But in case you're hesitating, I'm going to repeat the thought for the week at least. You are important and you matter in this world. Have a lovely and blessed day. Remember that. I don't know who it is, but somebody needs to hear it. So just remember that today. You are important and you matter. All right, let's see what is celebrated today on this magical Monday. What is celebrated today is Cheap Flight Day. Cheap Flight Day. Now listen, we ain't flying just because we in COVIDious times, the thing coconious in the dance. We ain't flying just because. However, when the things settle and we get back to close to normalcy, flight airlines, governments, regulators, I don't really know who, and I don't really care who. But we had to do something about the cost of flights, especially interregional travel. And that's what Cheap Flight Day is about, bringing awareness to the cost of flights and to the need to make it more affordable for members of the public. We'd are flying, but when all they make it so expensive, we can't fly. I remember there was a time that it was more expensive to travel to one of our Caribbean islands. I don't want to name them, Don't want to burn my bridge before I reach into people's place. But it was more expensive to travel to one of our Caribbean islands, not too far from Grenada, than it was to go in the U.S. That can't be happening. And then we're talking about one Caribbean, one culture just separated by water. No, we separated by water and expensive flights. Don't try to tie me up. So it's Cheap Flight Day. When things get back, no, let me discourage people from flying helter-skelter. Only necessary travel are taking place now. So not necessarily no. When things get back to normal and, it's a less of a stress, affordable flights is the way to go. Set up all yourselves right. I'd like to fly out every now and then. You know what I'm saying? Set up all yourself. Okay, let's see. Information time. I have a few things to share. Firstly, overnight we had a lot of rain, not especially, but I know in the south of the island we had a lot of rain overnight. Grenada and the rest of some parts of the Caribbean, we are currently experiencing the effects of a tropical wave. It is expected to traverse the southern part of the Caribbean, continuing into today and possibly into tonight. It is affecting islands like the Windward Islands, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. Those are the islands affected by the tropical wave, so expect some more water today. Scattered showers. We'll get more, of course, in the weather report at 7 a.m. But for those of you on our visual platforms, expect more rains today. Walk with your umbrellas, your water boots, your raincoat, your galoshes, whatever you need to do to stay dry and safe. Do that today. Those of you on the western side of the island, every time rain falls, you're first on my mind. So please be careful. Those of you on the western side of the island and those of you who live in flood-prone areas, it's going to be a rainy Monday today, so please be careful, each and every one of you. Another thing that I'm going to share this morning, Timothy, you don't have this one, our COVID-19 situation. Yesterday, some additional cases were announced, and Grenada currently has, I don't want to misquote the people, 39 active COVID-19 cases, with the addition of 10 new cases reported yesterday. So we are at 39 active COVID cases, 30 of them being locals, aka the people that live among us. If you are experiencing the symptoms of COVID-19, please contact the hotline, the COVID-19 hotline. Do not leave home, self-isolate, contact your medical station. According to a PSA I heard, the COVID people would come to you to carry out the test. Just contact them and let them know where you are if you are experiencing symptoms, or if you suspect you may have been contaminated. You may be asymptomatic, so if you've been in any of the hot spots that they've recently named, be it in St. John's Northeast, St. George Northeast, and St. George Northwest. So please keep that in mind. The thing's starting to get coconious and a little bit scary. Contact tracing continues, so please stay safe. Masks, hand sanitizers, I know we still stuck up in the buses and we're still cramming people in the buses, but once you stay safe, walk with your own hand sanitizer and wear your mask throughout the whole trip. That could lessen or minimize the chances of it being transmitted. Everybody quarreling that the buses are still crammed, but if we all pay attention to the protocols, bus drivers and conductors, make sure everybody mask up and your hand sanitize. We lapsing day bad. But everybody take responsibility for your own self and set up all yourselves until it changes and maybe they go back to 4 people in the bus. Maybe that's what them bus drivers need to do. Only if they promise and they continue to do what they need to do to ensure everybody's sanitized and safe. But for now, protect yourself. Right. Okay, so it is now 13 minutes to 7 o'clock. Let's get ready for the morning edition of news. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Always appreciate your listenership and your viewership. Stick and stay. Good morning, Grenada. We'll be right back.
State-of-the-art Ultratech gasoline and diesel, available only at Rubis stations.
Looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements? Or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 418-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Fallage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
Good evening, I'm Krista Campbell with the details. The health minister warned and many scoffed and rebuffed him. However, his warning sounded an eerie tone amid reports of the hospitalization of persons who contracted COVID-19. Reports surfaced last weekend that the unit which has been designated for the treatment of COVID-19 patients was activated at the General Hospital. The reports indicated that at least one person was warded at the COVID care unit. Rena Perr-Thomas filed that report.
Dr. Carissa Etienne, director of the Pan American Health Organization, has pointed out the growing trend of COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Caribbean and has made a clarion call for Caribbean nationals to get vaccinated. According to her, persons who have not taken the vaccine account for 95% of the people who have been hospitalized after contracting the virus.
But what we are seeing now is one, persons totally relaxing on the public health measures and a high level of vaccine hesitancy, where vaccines, even when they're available, that persons are not coming forward. As Ciro said, we are seeing vaccine hesitancy in healthcare workers. I want to make a special appeal to my fellow Caribbean persons to please, we have to be extremely careful. To be protected, you need to receive the full regimen. If it's 2 doses, you need to receive the full doses. 1 dose does not protect you. And please, the best vaccine for anyone is the one available to you.
Dr. Etienne is worried about the strain which will be placed on healthcare systems if the situation worsens.
We have limited bed capacity and limited ICU capacity in our small islands. We also, in smaller islands, we have limited expertise in terms of the number of healthcare workers, the number of respiratory therapists, the number of anesthetists. And our health systems will become overwhelmed very quickly.
Grenada recorded 2 more cases of COVID-19 on the weekend. That brought the country's total since its outbreak to 188. Returning nationals in their 40s were confirmed as being COVID-19 positive on Saturday. One of them is hospitalized and is in stable condition, while the other is in isolation. The 2 persons arrived in Grenada on August 4th with the required negative PCR test no more than 72 hours prior to travel and tested negative on arrival at the Maurice Bishop International Airport. They were cleared subsequent to the receipt of their result, but were later tested positive during exit testing on Friday. The Ministry of Health has started contact tracing efforts. The Health Ministry says several contacts has been identified and will be tested in the coming days. The first case among the local population in 2021 was also identified on Friday, August 13th. The individual, who works in the hospitality sector, did not travel recently. His condition is stable. For GBN News, I am Rena Pett-Thomas reporting.
Local cases of COVID-19 continue to increase as health officials say a super spreader party held in St. George's Northwest may be responsible for the increase. And Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles says the Ministry of Health is concerned that the Delta variant may be circulating. Jolanda Charles had that story.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles, during Tuesday's post-cabinet press briefing, disclosed that a cluster of COVID-19 cases has been identified on island. 3 more active cases now brings the country's total to 19. 4 of the 19 cases are among locals with no travel history. They include a hospitality worker from the south of the island, a miner from Guave, and 2 cases from the St. George Northwest area who attended a party on Thursday, August 12th, during which others may have contracted the virus.
This individual, along with another case, also attended a farewell party in which there were in excess of 30 plus persons. Right now we are trying to identify these individuals. What we can say is that from that party, so far we have identified 5 individuals who have tested positive. It is likely that this party was a super spreader event.
Dr. Charles said the Ministry of Health is concerned that the highly contagious Delta variant of the coronavirus may be circulating on island. According to the Center for Disease Control, the Delta variant is more infectious and has increased transmissibility when compared to other variants, even in vaccinated individuals.
From what we are seeing, we are concerned that it is the Delta variant that may be circulating in our population. Everyone should be more than concerned that what we are seeing right now could very well be the start of our outbreak.
Minister of Health Nicholas Steele said aggressive contact tracing efforts have begun. He urged Grenadians to get vaccinated as a measure of safeguarding their health.
How we get past this, and how quickly we get past this, is dependent on how we as a nation react to this. In the same way, how we have gotten to this point is dependent on how we as a nation have reacted as a whole. 20% of our population is vaccinated, which means 80% of our population is not. Which means 80% of our population still remain at a higher level of risk than we as a Ministry of Health or government would like to have.
Tests have been sent to CAFA to determine if there are active cases of the Delta variant on island. To date, Grenada has recorded 194 cases. Currently, there are 19 active cases with one individual presently hospitalized. Chalana Charles, GBN News.
As the week progressed, reports made the rounds that a cluster of cases had been identified through robust contact tracing. Indications are that scores of persons were swabbed and found to be COVID-19 positive through antigen tests. The Ministry of Health says it will keep the nation updated in the days ahead. Meanwhile, event managers and promoters are pushing back against a vaccinated-only policy. In recent times, some events were being promoted as accepting patrons on the basis of their vaccination status. However, some promoters are of the view that while they understand the need to keep COVID-19 at bay, it does not make economic sense.
A few months ago, promoters were allowed to host events with a suitable number that can match the venue size while meeting all COVID-19 protocols. This changed in July as the police and the Ministry of Health announced that promoters will have to limit patrons to persons who are fully vaccinated. Public Relations Officer of the Grenada Promoters Association, Eddie Greenwich, says the new protocol has placed more financial strain on event planners.
The younger people is not driven to go and get vaccinated, and these are the biggest consumers of entertainment, right? And so the percentage and the pool that we pull in from is so much smaller, right? If you realize the price points of events now would skyrocket because now the overheads to do an event it has not changed. I think you may see more and more people trying to do all-inclusive events because now they're trying to get the consumer to pay ahead of time, right? Because a large portion of promotion is unknown. We put out a product, we market that product, and we hope that is attractive enough for you to come to our event.
He thinks there is a need for a formal manual that will guide promoters on exactly what is expected of them.
But I just think it's more useful if we have something, a manual, right? So that as the association, we can now pass that on to the full membership, right? So we don't have John, Jane, whoever it is trying to figure out, so what exactly I have to do, right? How much person? There should be no ambiguity as to what the protocol is, right? And it seems to be not clear, and that is why I continue to advocate that we go back to dealing with this from an institutional standpoint, from an association standpoint, government to the association, so that we can filter down the information to our members.
The promoters would like to have the guidelines finalized quickly.
In a matter of put, and we will see, let us do a pilot project, right, of what an event moving forward should look like. Let us do it together. And then thereafter, we were told that, okay, well, they were going to get back to us. And it just fell by the wayside. Nobody communicated with us from since then. And also we moved from a proposal going to cabinet to not getting any feedback whatsoever.
For the past year, promoters and entertainers were unable to host any major events on island because of the social distancing rules. They are hoping that some kind of mechanism can be developed so that the sector can start moving again. For GBN News, I am Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
If If the President of the Senate has his way, the Grenada Broadcasting Network will not have a license to broadcast to the people of Grenada. Senate President Chester Humphrey says if he was the chairman of the authority which grants licenses, he would pull the GBN license. Senator Humphrey predicated his position based on GBN's coverage of the Juve sessions around the island last Monday. He called in to GBN's Beyond the Headlines program to complain about the coverage, expressing dismay that the salty lyrics used by the Jab groups were carried on the GBN Facebook page. Mr. Humphrey thinks that qualifies the GBN for a cancellation of its license.
Immediately called you and asked you if you were aware of this, and you said no, and I gave you the details of where you can go to get it. And soon thereafter, in fact, I don't think 5 minutes passed, the guy who was then streaming the thing live then began to say, GBN streaming live and direct, it is not responsible for what is being streamed, it is streaming what the people are saying. And I just shook my head in total amazement that a radio station, that a broadcast station, in fact, if I was the chairman of the broadcast authority, I would pull your license. If I was the chairman, and then let you come and appeal.
GBN's managing director, who is the host of the Beyond the Headlines program, acknowledged that she was contacted by Mr. Humphrey regarding the language being used by the Jabs while it was being streamed on the GBN Facebook page. Mrs. Odette Campbell made it clear that none of this was broadcasted on GBN television or its radio stations, and that immediately upon receiving the complaint, she moved swiftly to have the matter addressed.
Senator Humphrey, it is imperative that when we're giving information that we are clear with how we relate that information. To say that the national station in Grenada carried such what would he want to call it, insults and some of the things that you accuse us of is not true. The national station, Grenada Broadcasting Network, which runs Classic Radio, K105, GBN Television, and Hot 98, never did. What happened was, my father would say, what happened was that the social media page of the GBN, we had a freelancer who was streaming on the page. When the matter was brought to my attention, as you quite alluded to, you called, I sought to have the matter rectified and to ensure that we ascribe, whether it's also on social media or not, to the highest broadcast standards that the GBN has set and continues to ascribe to. So I just wanted to make sure that we set the record straight. And Senator, let me thank you so much that from time to time you bring things to our attention, and we seek to ensure that we stick within the confines of the law and public decency. I hope that I have set the record straight.
Meanwhile, the public has responded to the Health Minister Nicholas Steele ascribing blame to the media over what transpired in recent weeks. During a media conference last Tuesday, Minister Steele was asked about government's level of concern relating to new cases of COVID-19 on the island and the hosting of recent illegal carnival activities. His response was a stinging rebuke on the local media.
Fingers have been pointed. During yesterday's post-cabinet press briefing, it was announced that 3 more COVID-19 cases have been identified, bringing the island's total to 19. When asked if there was concern that positive individuals attended carnival-like activities, Minister for Health Nicholas Steele chastised the media for promoting events.
Some radio stations have actively promoted those events, and then we get a GBN reporter asking me whether we're concerned. I think the GBN reporter needs to ask their GBN management whether they promoted those events or not, and what they're going to do. How are they going to help the Ministry of Health and Contact Tracing now? Because they help the promoters to promote the events. What are they going to do to help the Ministry of Health to figure out who was there?
Since then, Grenadians have taken to social media to share their opinions on the minister's statement. Ricardo commented, "The carnival-like activities were inevitable. That's a fact. Majority will always prevail. The masses requested that no entry policies be implemented for the said period. If this was done by Parliament, the COVID-19 would not have reached our shores. This is blatant responsibility on our trusted authorities. Now they're trying to throw blame and responsibility on the said masses who said we are okay with no entry for the period. But our government loves money, so they keep the COVID-19 money coming in." Wendy wrote, "Grenadians head too hard, and now they are blaming each other." Eric commented, "Minister Steele better get a checkup because I swear he's suffering from foot-in-mouth disease." Anastasia added, "Mr. Steele, I think you all should bring back 7 days quarantine, even if you are fully vaccinated due to the Delta variants." Linda asked, "So if the promoters got permission, who do you want to blame? Police and those involved in granting permission?" Vincent wrote, "As the records are showing, vaccinated people in Grenada have tested positive. Who gave permission for fully vaccinated events?" Salisha commented, "Folks, if we get an outbreak here, really and truly we can't blame the government. This is everyone's responsibility to protect themselves and families. Partying, always there. Music, go always play. It's the bigger and more important picture for me." This individual commented, "If he wants to talk stations, talk about SMC and all the virtual events they had with other stations, hyping up people. GBN didn't get a FET ad, except for Wagiti All-Inclusive, which was fully sanctioned." And this individual commented, "COVID committee gives approval for events. Events with fully vaccinated patrons can host an unlimited amount. Even the Prime Minister mentioned this in his last address. Promoters give media houses the ads. Ads are aired. Now the Health Minister is blaming media houses for advertising events? I don't understand."
It's just over 2 months since unvaccinated workers of SGU were barred from entering the campus. Since then, the workers have been protesting against what they say is forced vaccination. After weeks of ongoing negotiation with the managing body of SGU, union representative for the workers says the matter may be brought before a third party.
President of the Technical and Allied Workers Union, Andrew Lewis, says that after weeks of discussions with St. George's University with no sign of a solution, the suggestion was made that the matter be brought to the Labour Commissioner. According to Lewis, in their last session with SGU at the end of July, several concerns were addressed, with solutions being found for some of the smaller issues. While this is so, the more pressing matters are still outstanding.
A number of matters that the union addressed with the school when we met on the 29th of July. They have responded to us, and as we speak, we wrote the school yesterday indicating that based on where we reach, we are of the view that the matter should be brought forward in terms of the industrial relations procedure to the Ministry for Labour. Yes, so that is where we are. If the school is of the view that they want further engagement because they have change of positions on what we call the substantive matters, then we're always open for discussion.
A recent press release issued by the managing body of SGU stated that after consultation with their internal infectious disease experts, they will not grant exemptions to unvaccinated breastfeeding mothers or those who refuse to take the vaccine based on religion. The school did agree to accept an exemption letter from the physician of pregnant workers for review. Lewis, who was speaking on the matter, says the university also gave other workers the option of seeking medical review for exemption.
The school has agreed that if any worker wish to access its facilities for medical advice, they are allowed to do that. I would think that if a medical practitioner makes a case for exemption for a worker, once that medical influence exemption is what it is. It is our expectation that the school should honor that. They will go through the process of review, but the aspect of possibility of exemption has always existed. We wrote the school because it was one of the requests of the workers. Workers are free, and I would expect a worker may feel more comfortable in using their own medical advisor to make a case for them. So it does not have to be from the school.
For GBN News, I am Rena Pear Thomas reporting.
Vendors at the National Stadium have expressed concern about a number of issues. They claim that they have been approached by an individual informing them that they may soon have to pay a fee to occupy a space at the stadium. Another is that of mandatory vaccination for those who will be occupying booths at the Market Square facility. Chrislina John listened to their complaints and sent us this report.
One vendor who requested her identity be concealed, speaking to GBN, says they need clarity on this since no government representatives spoke with them on any changes in this regard. GBN consulted Minister for Works and Infrastructure Nolan Cox. He indicated that the stadium is not under the responsibility of the ministry, but rather that of the National Stadium Authority. Priority, he says, will be given to vendors who were displaced to obtain a booth at the new facility.
That is news to me. I cannot speak to that. I don't know anything about that. Just to say that the vendors at the market, the market vendors at the stadium, I mean, we always want to commend them for them complying and moving and working along with us to ensure that their livelihood continue. So I just want to commend them for the continued support in that regard. However, the stadium is under the responsibility of the Stadium Authority. So we sought permission from Stadium Authority to place the vendors there until we can get them back into the market.
Privatization of the market is news to him, he says.
No, I have no knowledge of such. Well, that is news to me. We haven't had any expressions from anybody regarding such, written or otherwise. Requiring to lease the vendors market. I mean, the market has significant historical value and what it means to Grenada, so I do not foresee something like that happening.
As it pertains to mandatory vaccination before occupying a space at the St. George's Market Square, he gave this response.
To reiterate again, it has been the government has been consistent as regards to vaccination. We are not there is no mandatory vaccination policy. We have been engaging in moral persuasion that the government, the ministry, we are not making vaccination mandatory at all in that regard. So that is, I do not have any knowledge of such, and that is not our policy as regards to that issue.
Vendors were relocated to the National Stadium car park to facilitate work at the St. George's Market Square. Over 60 individuals will inhabit the first sets of booths, with further construction on washroom facilities and additional booths to be undertaken. Chrislina John, GBN News.
Imagine having the home of your dreams. Imagine investing in that piece of property you can call your own. Imagine finally doing that home improvement project you've always been thinking about. It's time to stop imagining and start doing. Let the GUT Credit Union help you take the first step with fantastic rates, affordable repayments, and reduced legal fees. Make the move. Get better terms on your mortgage. Use your home equity to make those dreams a reality. Act now. There's really no place like home. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need, and we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LED. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
How do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
Energizing our Grenada.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable, and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
With a Digicel Prime Bundle, get double the dedicated SportsMax data to enjoy the greatest sports event happening now. Live in the SportsMax app. Get a 30-day Digicel Prime Bundle today in the My Digicel app. Digicel, better together.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG. Clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get Lois. Introducing Color by Sissons. 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 Color by Sissons.
GBN, in association with the Grenada Development Bank and the Agricultural Shop, presents the GBN exclusive Taking Agriculture Forward, a two-part 2-hour forum on August 11th and 18th from 8 p.m. on GBN Television 7 and 11, K105 FM, and on all GBN's social media platforms. This forum will discuss primary agriculture and opportunities, agricultural extension and support, challenges facing the sector, and policies and food system sustainability. Join us on August 11th and 18th as we speak to the experts on taking agriculture forward.
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. It is now 18 and a half minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. Those of you just getting out of bed and just joining us, happy to have you. And those of you who stuck with us, thanks for your patience. Let's get into this morning's discussion, which I know a lot of theatre lovers like myself would like to hear, but we'll put a little asterisk on it. You'll hear some details in a short while. Joining me virtually this morning is playwright and director Mr. Christopher DeRiggs, and he's here to tell us that they are finally ready to stage Fedon after being put off last year because, of course, of the COVID-19 protocols. Now that we have gotten things back in place and ready to stage it again, here comes more protocols in the dance. So you see, something about Fedon and COVID-19 probably not going together. Good morning, Mr. DeRiggs. How are you, sir?
Morning, Blossom. How are you doing?
I can't complain.
Nice. Well, you're choppy and positive as usual.
I try.
A breath of fresh air in the morning. That's great.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I was happy when they told me, Fedon is coming back, but then we have to put an asterisk on it because of announcements on Friday. So let's first start with how did we get here? From putting it off from last year to this year, and then we'll get into how the protocols may affect the staging of Fedon.
Well, let me say good morning to all your viewers and listeners. It's a pleasure to be speaking to you on a Monday morning. I hope my Monday morning intervention creates a positive spin for the week for all our listeners and viewers. And some of our patrons, maybe all of our patrons, and certainly some of the general public will know that we had planned to stage the historical dramatical production, historical drama, Julian Fedon, in the month of March in 2020. And we were ready to stage that production. We had done everything we could to procure costumes, to build the sets, to do the promotions. And the actors had gone through preparation for several months. And then came the announcements regarding the pandemic and the social protocols that were required. And for that reason, we were forced to rethink the whole scheduling of the production. We were waiting anxiously to see if the pandemic would abate, if things would change, if the environment would be more favorable, more conducive for us to stage a play. And then we discovered that we were at the start of a nightmare. For the year 2020, we know of the global spread of the pandemic. And of course, our little island, Grenada, was spared. And even if we have not suffered the intensity of the pandemic as other countries did, we still were forced to abide with certain protocols, which involved a lockdown at some point in time, a curfew, and restrictions regarding social gatherings and so on. And we felt we were coming out of the woods to the extent where we could begin to think again about staging. And meanwhile, our cast stayed in contact using the modern technology, Zoom. We endeavored to maintain a level of contact through Zoom rehearsals. We actually read script and conducted the rehearsals through Zoom, but as time went by, we felt we were not as effective as we could be, and we sort of shelved that activity. Meanwhile, again, we staged another production with a smaller cast, 5 actors. We did the play Patient Zero in the month of November last year, which dealt with the issue of COVID. And we felt it was not just entertainment, it was public education. And that came off well with social distancing at the Trade Center. We were able to do all that was required with respect to the social protocols, the seating arrangements were spaced out, the sanitizing at the start of the show. When people were entering, we took their names for possible contact tracing if there was an incident and so on. And we were able to stage a production, Patient Zero, with a smaller cast. But then we began to gear up for Fedon, which is a big play with 15 actors. And we felt that given that social events were happening, we looked around us, we saw there were church services being held, we saw parties being conducted, and many sit-down type entertainment events, including graduations, were being held. Told us, well, maybe the environment had changed and we could, look towards staging the Fedon play. And so we had scheduled the play to run from the 25th of September, the 25th and 26th, and then do it on the following weekend. But here we are again, and we heard the Prime Minister's speech where he announced an extended curfew and restrictions on social gathering. So we are not staging a carnival-like activity, and we are following the protocols. So we're hoping that this does not throw us off too badly. We have decided to stop advertise the play while we await the next announcement from the public health authorities. So we will know, we'll develop a perspective as to when we can stage the play, and we begin to notify our clients and patrons again.
In the meantime, how would you prepare while not preparing? If that makes sense. How would you keep the crew together and keep active, and at least keep active? Yeah, keep active.
When you take a full year to prepare a production, a lot can happen. The conditions can change, as indeed this has been the case with the Fedon production. We had the cast has changed. Half of the cast of 15 has changed. Some people migrated. In one particular case, one of the main actors had to go abroad for medical treatment and will not return to be part of the cast. So we had to find new acting talent. And it's a blessing in disguise because we have found strong acting talent, very good acting talent. So we have brought something by going out there and finding new actors. We have made the cast even richer. So that's a good thing about it, finding an opportunity in adversity. However, it's a very unstable situation if one has to wait for an indefinite period to stage a production. So we are going to continue to rehearse. The play is virtually ready. Maybe some brushing up to do and so on. We know what we have to do to rebuild the sets, and our promotion, as you know, would have started. But what we're going to do now is continue to work in a serious way, at least twice a week, with rehearsals, polishing and tightening and fixing things that we think we must use the time to fix in an even a better way to improve the quality of the production for our patrons. But we are just as excited, just as committed, and we are looking forward to staging Julian Fedor as early as possible.
During the year and almost a half that you were initially planning to hold Fedor, were you able to make changes? Did you find the time to maybe tweak things that you wanted to, but you didn't have the time when the initial plan was March 2020?
Yes. You know, any playwright will tell you that we are always striving to write the perfect play. And I know you know a few playwrights. So we always tinkering with the script, and sometimes much to the annoyance of our cast, because we give them one set of lines, and then we go home and dream, and we come back, and we imagine we have found a better way to express something, a better way to bring out a character, so that the character is more relatable. The character would resonate more with people and so on. Sometimes we adjust the storyline again to ensure greater realism in how things develop. So yes, we have worked collectively to focus on strengthening our script for Julian Fedor. And I must tell you that the script we have now is one with considerable differences if you compare it with the one we had a year ago. So maybe, as I said, it's a blessing in disguise that we were forced to do a postponement. But at the same time, it's concerning to us that we have not been able to stage the play.
In the event that the Prime Minister did point out that it's September 3rd, we will revisit the protocols. But in the event that they stay the same, do you have a plan B? I know usually plays are usually 8 p.m., but do you have a plan B for when you will stage it?
Well, let's hear what the Public Health Authority say on the 3rd of September. This play will be staged live at some point in time. But we are open towards utilizing the benefits of the information technology revolution to prepare the play for a social media event, a social media staging. We actually filmed Patient Zero with exactly that in mind. And so we are only looking on, when we schedule the showing, the viewing of Patient Zero as a paid-per-view, paid-on-demand production. And the same will be done with Fedor. It's a historical document. We cannot just stage it live and leave it like that. It has to be recorded, and we might as well zoom it out to all of humanity. The story in itself, Julian Fedor, is a very epic story, a story that it speaks to the experience of people in the Caribbean enslaved Africans struggling for their freedom. And this story resonates throughout the Caribbean, and not just English, but French, Dutch-speaking Caribbean. In the 1790s, the 1780s, the 18th century struggle on the part of enslaved people in the Caribbean for their liberation, whether it is in St. Vincent, in Dominica, in Haiti, as in the case of the Haitian Revolution, and of course, Grenada, even up in the United States, right, in places like New Orleans. So there's this common thread of the struggle for independence, the resistance that this play brings out. And so it's a lesson in history for students in secondary schools and primary schools. It's a lesson in history for all who want to know, have a sense of context of how the road that we traveled to become independent. So for all these reasons, this play has to be given proper documentation as a historical document to be there for all who come after us to see and be entertained, but also educated about the history. So we will do it live because we need a live audience. We gain strength or when there's a live audience in a theater, in a room. But we are open towards expanding our audience, capitalizing on the benefits of the information technology revolution using social media.
How did you clamp down on which aspect of Fedon's story to tell? And how are you able to capture that in, 1.5, 2 hour stage play?
Actually, we're looking at a play that is more than 2 hours.
Okay.
So it's a big play. It's perhaps our biggest play in terms of length, but we guarantee you will not notice the passage of time because it's a gripping story. How do we narrow down on the aspects of Fedon's life to put the spotlight on? Well, I think we ask ourselves, what are the human interest elements of this story? And what do we know? We know that Fedon led a rebellion in 1795, controlled the island of Grenada, except for St. George's, for a year. We know that it was put down by the British under a man called Abercrombie. We know that thereafter there was a serious reprisal conducted by the British colonial authorities. People were hanged, people were executed. They carried out a vengeance. We know that. But there's something beyond that. We have to throw color on that. Who was Julian Fedon? What was his childhood like? Who were his mother and father? What siblings did he have? Do you know he was one of 8? There were 8 of them in the family. And there are interesting things like himself and 2 of his brothers married 3 sisters. Very, it's a strange coincidence, but these are peculiar, colorful details about the man's life that people would like to know. Then there are also issues pertaining to the actual conditions of estate life. Some things that are, fairly cliche and expressed in history books, but there are sometimes softer sides that we don't see. So we try to bring that out. What was the religion of the enslaved population in Grenada at the time? What were the African origins? Were most of them born in Africa? What religion? What was their religion like? We try to get these things out. So things that go beyond just a kind of general description of Julian Fedon and his time. We try to make it an interesting human interest story. Did he have a sense of humor? Human beings tend to laugh, right? So we look at this austere, revolutionary, and so on. But he was a man with human frailties and human weaknesses, and we try to zero in on those things that people will like to know when they look at the life and time of an individual, like Julian Fedon.
This is a kind of play that requires research. How did you go about the research for this production? What sources did you tap into? Are there family members that you've contacted? How did the research go? And how long did it take you to research to put this play together?
I think it's the actual period of research, I would say, was about 4 months. But the sowing of the idea in my head was done like 2 decades ago. Dr. Curtis Jacob at the Marichaud House University Center, he challenged me to write a play about Julian Fedor. At that time, I didn't take him seriously, but somehow he nagged at me for years. And every time he saw me, he would actually reproach me, "Have you written the Julian Fedor play yet?" So eventually it began to make an impression on me, and I somehow made a decision to at least begin to research Julian Fedor in a serious way. And the more when I started the research, he himself provided material. I think he did his PhD dissertation on the Fedor chapter in Grenada's history. Then my brother, Anthony Wendell DeRiggs, who is a writer and who has a big presence in social media, he provided me with books, a number of books, material that he himself had, amassed over the years. He just gave them to me without even asking me, what I'm going to do with it. He just said, "This is interesting, read it." And I began reading again, expanding my reading and research. So gradually, the plan began to form in my mind of a Fedor story. And you wouldn't believe it, I actually began to write it without even knowing that I had begun. I had in mind Julian Fedor on the eve of his final battle, standing on the heights of Belvedere on a moonlight night, dressed in full military regalia, making a speech. And theatrically, that's a very compelling image. A man in full military regalia standing on a mountaintop on a very momentous period in his life, because he's about to go into a final battle. And that was how the start of the play formed in my mind without even thinking in a structural way about how I was going to write that play. And the rest just unfolded and was fed by research. I kept coming upon interesting things. Julian Fedor's father came from Bordeaux in France in 1649, came to Grenada through the French islands, picked up a lady called Brigitte. They came to Grenada, they got married, they had 8 children, and I asked myself, what happens from then on? He must have had a childhood. He must have come into contact with the English. When the English controlled Grenada for the first time in 1763 after French rule of Grenada for 100 plus years. There must have been conflict, and conflict is what feeds stories. So in that way, I was able to develop a story of conflict between Fedor and the British as a child, and then later on in his life, when he took on the full battle of leading thousands of slaves or enslaved Africans against the British colonial authority.
There's always, every time we do a historical, whether it be a play or a book or something, there's always this conversation about how can we take it to our school children. I know the primary focus right now is to actually get the play staged and filmed, but in the back of your mind, in the near or distant future, any plans to take it to schools, whether it's a shortened version or in some form, take it to our school children so they can learn that part of Grenada's history?
Well, we will take the schools to it. Rather than take it to the schools, because when we erect the sets at the Trade Center, it is difficult to take those sets around. They're very elaborate. But as in the case of Patient Zero, staged last November, and other productions, we have worked with the teachers of the creative arts, theater arts, teachers of English B in the secondary schools in a very successful way to bring the children to see the production. Last year, some of the members of Heritage Theatre Company engaged the Minister of Education and the then Minister of Culture about the production, seeking their support and collaboration. The Minister of Education kindly gave her endorsement to to the production as a work of art worthy of being seen by the children in schools. We were grateful for that. Similarly, the Minister of Culture at the time expressed a lot of enthusiasm with respect to supporting the production. And we're hoping that this enthusiasm will be translated into practical assistance, because the children need to get to the schools, to the theater. They would need transport. And there is a cost involved. So we have shouldered the brunt of the cost of preparing for this production, the cost of building the sets, the cost of importing the costumes and so on. We are grateful to the private sector in Grenada. Let's be very clear. The private sector has been very generous in supporting not just this production, but others. So without their help, we would not be able to deliver. But we see this as partnering and partnership between the people in the creative arts, as well as the private sector, and certainly the government as a facilitator. So yes, we will take it to the school children, but they have to come to see it. And we believe it's a valuable history lesson. And we are looking forward, in keeping with a well-established practice now, of bringing the children to see the play.
I agree. Thank you very much, Mr. DeRiggs. So we're waiting on September 3rd or thereabout before we finalize when we will be staging. Not if, when we will be staging.
Yes, so we must do it. We're in it already. We've been preparing for this. We have to do it. It's a historical necessity, I would say.
I agree. So let's wait on September 3rd, and then we'll know for sure when it will be held, what time it will be held. But we know for sure it's at the Trade Center.
Yes, definitely. And through the generous support of the management of the Trade Center, Mr. Ricky Bido and his staff.
Okay, lovely. Well, at least we know the venue. So at least we know we're halfway there.
Well, I sense that we're signing off. Let me just take the opportunity, Blossom, to hit a note for the GBSS old boys. You know, I wear different hats, on my bald head. Well, GBSS old boys, them guys who, of the 70s, they're getting together in December. They're having a reunion. Let us hope that the public health profile of things don't make it too much of a challenge for them. But I just want to, reach out to all the GBSS old boys in Grenada and who might be listening in social media outside of Grenada to support this event. And those old boys who have financial means, who can help, because there are costs involved for the station of this event. I'm not, at the center of the activities by any means, but I've been reminded that is, once I have the attention of the nation, especially old boys, to ask them to get in contact with people like Mr. Edwin Frank locally, who can provide more information about this event in December 2020. We're in 2021, so this December. So GBSS power. Nice.
So that's for all GBSS old boys, or a specific class, graduating class?
All are invited.
Okay.
Right? All are invited.
Right.
Whosoever will may come. That sort of thing.
Lovely.
Right?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. DeRiggs. I wish you all the best, and hopefully we'll hear a definitive date for the staging of Fedor soon time. Looking forward to it. This part of Grenada's history to be documented. Looking forward to it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much, Blossom. Have a great day yourself.
Thanks. Blessings. You do too. Stay dry. Stay dry.
Nice.
Playwright and director Chris DeRiggs Fendor. The plan was late September, but let's see how the COVID-19 situation unfolds, and then we'll definitely have a date. It's not if it will be held, it's when. So we'll stay tuned for the date, and of course, once I get that, I'll share with our viewers and listeners, theatre lovers across the island. I know you're looking forward to it, so I'll definitely share the information once we clamp down on a date and time. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and join Just School Media for this morning's Traffic Cam. We will be right back.
Are you looking
looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements? Or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 418-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Fallage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
Let's get tough on breeder larceny. It will destroy our economy. Larceny threatens our food security. Can hurt us locally, hurt us globally. To all the buyers, ask for license from all produce sellers. To all people, 300 for police for them thieving fellas. To all farmers, please don't steal produce from your brother. Then you're selling to traffickers, hotels and street vendors. Nah, man. Let's do all we can to stop breeder larceny. New vigilance, new laws, and a tough judiciary. Stop Grenada's organized business crime. It's time.
To report breeder larceny, call 300.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable, and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
We now join Just School Media for this morning's traffic cam. Let's hear what's happening out there. It's a wet Monday, so let's see what Just School is saying. Take it away.
Just on the road when you are coming up to the folks that are debushing, especially those that are operating the weed eater. Please blow your horn to notify them that you are there so that they can stop. Because it will not be nice that you're driving, going to work, and then a stone, we need to pick up a stone and either damage your windscreen or it can even damage you. So you got to exercise caution and alert them that you are passing so that they will stop. And those of you who are using the machine, please be aware of the vehicles on the road so you can also stop to allow them to pass safely and then continue. Because so many times I've passed the road, and so now when I pass in, you hear something hit the vehicle, and you could take it for granted. Well, it may not hit you, but you never know. So it's always to be cautious. Those drivers, alert them that you are there, and those responsible for using the weed eater, please be aware of your surroundings and as you use it. Now we are in Latat Junction. A junction that joins 5 roads to different directions, to Tong, to St. Andrews, to Demon, and to some other villages in Latat itself, in St. David's. not much traffic on the road this morning, and the traffic predominantly is heading to the city. Just 3 of us on the road this morning, so far heading into the city. So we'll be passing Primrose Junction. So we just would like to inform you that at Just School, we do live streaming and video recording of funeral services all over Grenada. We work with all funeral homes. And we have a promotion now from now until September 11th. We are adding live YouTube streaming to all our funeral packages. So you have live streaming on Facebook, live streaming and virtual interaction on Zoom. We also do a video recording. And now we are adding YouTube, live streaming on YouTube. And that is added up until September 11th at no additional cost to your clan. Just select one of our funeral packages and we will add live YouTube streaming to it for you. Now we are in Malmont and there's only 3 of us, and now a bus is passing us heading up to Latant. So I guess the rain kept everybody inside. Six roads, yes. Latan Junction connects 6 roads. Virgin Parish of St. David. Now it's 4 of us on the road heading into St. George's. And we just want to encourage you as you traverse to be safe. Follow the COVID-19 protocol because we have to live with this. COVID is here to stay. Look, it seems that it's here to stay and we have to survive with it. So we gotta exercise caution, sanitize, wear your mask properly, avoid crowded areas. If you don't have to do anything in town, stay home. In the comfort of your home, relax. Past Bellevue Junction and we are heading into central St. David's. St. David's goes to passing the St. David's police station shortly. So be a responsible driver this week. A responsible driver. You're responsible for both your passengers, for other drivers, and also for pedestrians.
Every Monday and Wednesday, give you an idea of what's happening on the outside this morning. An early morning view of St. David. The road seems to be pretty clear. I guess everybody close to St. George by now as they get to work. And maybe up Grenville side because St. David seemed to be relatively clear of vehicular traffic. So those of you in St. David, you have a smooth road to come down. Oh, look at Van flying past Junior and the dance. Just remember the roads are wet. They are slippery. There are some roads that are smoother than others, so they will be more dangerous than others, especially when wet. So motorists, please keep that in mind. Better you arrive late than you don't arrive at all. So take your time on the nation's roads. Drive safely. Observe all the road traffic rules, please, and thank you, and exercise a few extra ones that are not in the book because you had to drive for you and everybody else on the nation's roads. So please be safe, whichever direction you're heading, whichever roadway you're using. Please be safe and cautious. The roads are wet and slippery. That's my warning and my urge to each and every one of you. And that's where we're going to end the televised portion of Good Morning Grenada. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Remember, we are in a sticky situation in relation to our COVID-19 situation. Contact tracing continues. There are 39 active COVID cases, 30 of them being local. And according to the COVID-19 dashboard, those cases are being investigated. So they're seeing where they went, who they were in contact with, so you never know, you just might be on the list. So please be safe. Masks, hand sanitizers. If you don't need to leave home, stay home. Rain falling as well, and more excuse to stay home. Please, those of you traveling on buses, even if you're the only one wearing a mask, that's what needs to happen, then that's what needs to happen. Just continue to be safe and cautious. Enjoy the rest of your marvelous, magical, wet Monday. Bye-bye, everybody.